Day 9, CareerBoost Initiative by the Eastern Pathways Youth Foundation focused on product design and sustainable development goals (SDGs). The sections were anchored by our moderator, Akin Success.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to day 9 of the CareerBoost Initiative for African Youth 1.0, a 30 days learning program organized by Eastern Pathways Youth Foundation.
We had 2 expert speakers share insights on their respective topics on SDGs, along with the UI and UX specialist who has been with us since day 1. Now, let's dive into the lectures.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Today is day 9. Welcome to day 9 of the CareerBoost Initiative for African Youth program. And once again, I am your UI UX design facilitator. And in previous sessions, we have spoken about by now, I don't think I need to go back all the way again, but we've spoken about what UI and what UX is. We've spoken about user interviews, user research, user surveys, questionnaires. We've also spoken about user persona, and today we are going to be talking about usability testing. We are going to be talking about usability testing. So I'm just going to begin by trying to explain what usability testing is. So in this lesson, basically, we are going to not just look at what usability testing is, we're also going to learn how you can gather feedback on your designs in an effective way. And I hope that at the end of this class, you would already understand what usability testing is. You would also understand why it is important and how to also conduct usability tests using your prototype. Let's begin. What is usability testing? So like I said, I am going to define this. Usability testing is basically a method that is used to evaluate a product's user interface. So it is done by either observing users, like real users, as they interact with your design. So you've done your designs, that's the UI part, the interface part. You've done it on Figma, you've done it on maybe Adobe XD or on Sketch. Now you're trying to conduct usability tests. The way to do that is to get real users. By real users, I mean people within your target audience. You already know your personas, so you just select people within this your user persona. They could be friends, they could be family members, they could be classmates, but you just have to make sure that they represent your target audience. So those are your users, and then you're going to give them like specific tasks to complete within the app. Remember, we talked about user flows. Exactly. So you can pick one of your flows and tell them to complete that flow. So if, for instance, you're testing for a shopping app, you can ask them to search for something on the app, or you can tell them to add something to their cart. You can tell them to pay for a book, basically anything like that. And the most important part is the observation part. You have to observe these people as they are performing these tasks, so that you can watch how they interact with your designs. You have to take notes, right, on where they get stuck. If they get confused, you have to take notes. And all of these things will help you to identify any usability issues that you need to fix. Now, why exactly is this usability testing important? Usability testing is very crucial for several reasons. One of them is that it will help you to identify problems. So if you, by the time you design, and as a designer, you might feel like, oh, your work is perfect. But now, before you launch that, before you send that design to your developers to write the code, you have to find out if there are any problems with your design. And the only way you can do that is to perform a usability test. For instance, you might not even know that your users are going to struggle to find a button, right? So by the time you conduct a usability test, you can easily find out. By the time you observe maybe like multiple users, maybe 4 or 5 people, and you notice that all of them struggle to find a particular button, you already know that it is an issue and it needs to be fixed, right? And then another importance of usability testing is improving user experience. So by observing these users, your audience, your test people now, you can gain insights into how they are going to navigate, how they are going to use the app. You're going to understand the kinds of challenges they would face when they are using your design, right? When they're using the app you've designed, when they're using the website you've designed. So with the kind of insights, the kind of information you would get from observing these users, you can now start making more informed decisions that would further improve your user experience for your design, right? And then another importance of conducting usability tests, it will help you to validate your design choices. So if you had maybe chosen to go with maybe blue for a particular button, and by the time you conduct usability tests, you would now be able to confirm that really that blue was either the right choice or the wrong choice, and you need to fix that. So if you tell your users to complete task from the user flow you've come up with, and they complete it as you had intended, like they go through all of the journeys as you had intended, you as the designer, you're going to feel very confident in your design choices because you know that you did not design rubbish, basically. And then the most important one, not the last one, but one of the importance of conducting usability tests is that it will, like I said earlier, because now you've caught the issues that would arise with your design, you can easily fix it, which means that you're going to save money early on in the design, in the process of launching that product. So imagine if you had launched the product to the market, 5,000 people have downloaded the app, only to now realize that the app is people cannot even go through, they can't sign up because your designs were probably not good enough. People did not understand the information you're trying to pass across to them. But if you had conducted usability tests before pushing that product into the market, you would have realized that and you would have fixed it. Now imagine having to start rushing to fix issues after it has gone live. Obviously, it's not going to be a good look on you as a designer and on the company that you probably designed that for. And basically, at the end of the day, everything you're doing as a designer for your users is to make sure that they are satisfied, is to make sure that they enjoy your product. So with usability testing, you can easily design things that people would enjoy using. Right? So when you have satisfied users, you are more likely to have more referrals, like people would recommend the app to other people, and that's how you would keep building and you make money basically as a company. Now, how do you even conduct usability tests? How do you conduct usability tests? Now that you already understand what usability testing is and why it is important, you have to also know how to conduct it effectively, right? So the first thing you're going to do before you even start testing at all is to prepare your prototype. How do you prepare your prototype? Make sure that you have included all the necessary features in your design. So you want them to complete certain tasks in your user flow. You have to make sure that you provide the screens for each of those tasks that they need to perform, each of those parts that they'll need to follow. So if you want me to sign up, but you don't put a page for me to type in my username and password or create a password, there is no way for me to sign up. Or you're telling me, okay, reset your password, but the only page in your journey, in your design, is a login screen. I don't see any page, I don't see any button there that tells me, okay, I want to reset my password. So you have to make sure that before you even start testing, you ensure that your prototype is ready for them to interact with. That's for your users now. It is ready for them to interact with. You have to make sure that it includes all of the necessary features that they need to complete their task. Now, the second thing you're going to do is to choose your participants. Remember I said earlier that from your user persona, that's like your target audience, you have to select people that are going to like represent your target audience. So it could be your friends, it could be family members. Just make sure that there are people that fits the persona of the kind of people that would naturally use, or that you're designing for, the people that would use the website, the people that will use the app you're designing. Then the third thing you're going to do is to define your task. You have to make sure that you create clear and simple tasks for your participants to complete during this test. Now, for example, like I said earlier, you are telling people, please sign up on this app. That is a task. You are telling them, add a dress to your cart. That is a task. You are telling them, delete something from your app. That's a task. You're telling them unfollow somebody. That's a task. So you have to make sure that before you even start the testing at all, create maybe a list of some sorts with like simple tasks that people can easily complete, but just make sure that it's something that has to do with what you're designing. Task, you can start with like the sign up journey, then you can move into telling them to perform like simple tasks within the app. If it's a book reading app, tell them to download an app, or to pay for to download a book, or to pay for a book. Now, to conduct the test itself. So there are you can either do it remotely, virtually, like over your computer, or you can do it in person, right? So if it is possible for you to conduct your usability tests in person, you would have to like sit with your users as they all test your prototype. So you have to observe their actions and note if there are any difficulties they encounter when they're like using your design. So this is like the prototype you're testing now. So this means that you like I said earlier, you've prepared your prototype already. Now you're sitting with them, you're observing them to see if they are going to use your prototype the exact way you had envisioned it. And if you're doing it remotely, you have to make sure that they provide your feedback for you online. So you conduct your tests basically remotely over maybe Zoom, Google Meet, whatever channel you want to use, but just make sure you have like recordings of this usability test. Now, the last thing, one of the other things you need to do, probably not the last thing, but one of the other things you need to do is to take notes. Like I said, record your observations during the test. So you have to take notes of things like, oh, at what point did they get stuck? At what point were they confused? What were like the buttons that they couldn't find? How long did it even take them to complete a task? So you have to take note of things like that. Make sure you're recording every single observation of yours during the task, and then you have to gather feedback. So after completing the task, you can ask your participants about their experience. So you can ask them questions like, what did you like? What was confusing? You can also ask them questions if you can also ask if they have like suggestions for you, so that you could improve on your designs, stuff like that. Now, I want you guys to work on something engaging. So you're going to conduct usability tests. Remember the app from yesterday. You're going to conduct usability tests using your prototype from that design. So first thing, what are you going to do? Like I said earlier, find a participant, choose somebody close to you, so you guys can like conduct tests on each other. Explain what you want them to do to them, right? So just briefly explain what your prototype is and what you would like them to do during the test. Then give them task. So ask them to do a particular thing. So if you want them to maybe add something to cart, pay for something, just tell them what they need to do, right? And then observe as they're doing this task and make sure you take notes. So as they're walking through the task, watch how they interact with your prototype. Note any areas where they struggle or anywhere they seem confused. make sure to pay attention to any comments or feedbacks or any even reaction, as small or as slight as it may seem. Make sure to take note of every single one of them and ask them the questions when they are done about their experience. Like I said earlier, what did they like about using your app, about using the prototype, because it's not yet an app, but yeah, what did they like about using your prototype? Was there anything that confused them? Is there anything they would like you to improve on? Right, and make sure to keep like writing all of the feedback you get from them. Now, there is something about usability testing that is very important that I have maybe dabbled on a little bit when I was talking. Now you've already gathered feedback from your tests, right? What do you even use that feedback to do at the end of the day? It is called iteration, right? So iteration means making changes and making improvements based on what you've learned from like previous experience, or in this case from your user feedback. So it's very essential in your design process, because at the end of the day, no design is perfect like on the first try. The first time you design, okay, well and good, you have to test it. Then with the feedback you get from your users, you start iterating to make sure that you cover all grounds, you fix all, there are no loopholes, none of those things. So basically, you're going to look through your feedback, the ones you've gotten from your user test, and if multiple people mentioned that something was hard to do, or they couldn't find something quickly, it just means that it needs to be changed, completely fixed, whatever. Just make sure that you're thinking critically about how you can address issues that people raised during the testing. Right, so if you told them, for instance, like I said, to pay for something and they're telling you they could not find the pay now button, that is already an issue. You have to take note of that, and maybe consider, if you already had the button in your design but maybe it was very small, in that kind of scenario you have to consider making it larger, making it more obvious for them to see. Or you can even move it to a more prominent position, more prominent location on your design, so that people can easily see it, right? And if they maybe if multiple people suggested a particular feature to you during the user test, that is the time to start thinking of how you can implement it in your next version. So that is iteration. Now, once you've made all of these changes again based on feedback, you should also consider conducting another round of usability tests. Why? Because you have to ensure that the improvements you have done, they've now fixed the issues that arose the first time, right? And if there are now new issues again, you can also improve on that, iterate again. Exactly, it's like a cycle, it never ends. So you keep designing, do tests, get feedback, iterate on your designs, do tests again, like that. So like I said at the beginning, usability test is a very, very vital step when it comes to creating apps or websites that are user friendly, because by the time you start observing these users, the real users now, potential users, as they interact with your prototype, right, you can quickly identify problems that would arise early, and you can fix those problems as soon as immediately after you conduct your test. You iterate on them, right? So it helps you to, before you launch at all, you've already fixed issues that already arose during the usability testing. So even after you've launched, you know that if at all, maybe it will be just minor issues, bugs and stuff like that, but it's not going to be like a design related issue. And like I said, iteration is very crucial for you to refine your designs based on the information you get from your audience. So I would, like I said, you guys take out time now, maybe work on 2-3 screens on Figma, connect to the prototype, and then share your prototype with your friends. Remember the steps for conducting usability testing. Show the people your prototype, ask them to perform simple tasks, and watch them, observe them, and take notes as they are doing this usability testing. I would also like you guys to read more about, like, there are other more advanced techniques for gathering user feedback apart from observation, right? So there are tools that can help you, especially if it's virtually, if you're doing it online. So there are tools like Maze, that can help you to conduct usability tests that will show you, like, hotspot areas that people were clicking on when you were trying to interact with your prototype. So you can read up more on that, advanced techniques that you can use to, like, gather feedback, and even read up on how you can use this information you get from your users. They're called, like, maybe insights, right? And yeah, that's it for today. See you guys tomorrow. Please do your designs to the prototypes and then conduct your usability tests.
Hello everyone, it's a great pleasure to be speaking to you all today on a very interesting topic that I hold dear to my heart. And I want to say a big thank you to the organizers of this program for the privilege to speak to young adults like myself today. I'm Tosin Akitibo, and I'll be speaking to you all today on participating and achieving SDGs as an undergraduate. I'll be focusing majorly on SDG 4, quality education, for the purpose of this session. Now, I know that some of you might have heard of SDGs before, while some will just be hearing it for the first time today. That's no problem, because I'll be breaking SDGs down in a way that you will easily understand. So for this session, I'll be talking about what SDGs are. Then we'll focus on SDG 4, we'll address SDG 4. Then we move to how you can get involved in SDGs as an undergraduate, and that is it. So yeah, starting with what SDGs are. What are SDGs? In full, SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Now, I call them Vision 2030 because SDGs are like a bunch of goals, 17 in number to be specific, and all these 17 goals need to be achieved by 2030. So SDGs are established by United Nations in agreement with all countries included. So the world leaders came together on September 25, 2015 to agree together on 17 goals that needs to be achieved by 2030. Now, all these goals, 17 in number, address socio, economical, political sectors of the nation, talking about poverty, education, gender equality, water, climate, and every other aspect of the country. So the main aim of SDGs is to address most pressing world challenges, and how these goals are put together, which needs me, which needs you to be involved. Everybody needs to be involved in achieving the SDGs, which I think it's very, very important to hold programs like this. These programs like this is to create awareness for SDGs, because before you as a youth of a country can get involved in something, you need to be aware that that thing exists before you can take action on being involved, right? So yeah, as I mentioned, we have 17 goals in number. We have SDG 1, no poverty, SDG 2, zero hunger, SDG 3, good health and well-being, SDG 4, quality education, which I'll be focusing on for the purpose of this session. Now, why SDG 4? According to UNICEF, Nigeria, along with two other countries, that's India and Pakistan, has the highest number of out-of-school children globally. So that's to tell you that we still have a long way to go in achieving education or access to quality education in Nigeria as a country. Now, I am going to be sharing a personal experience with you all today. But before we get to that, why SDG 4? Why quality education? Why does quality education matter? I believe that quality education is the bedrock of every other goals in the SDGs. Other SDGs emerge due to lack of education. We have poverty because there is lack of quality education. We still have problem with gender equality because of lack of education, right? We still have things like child labor, FGM, every other thing going on in the world. Some of these challenges, some of these problems are due to lack of education. Now, imagine us addressing the root of the problem, addressing this education. That means all the other goals in the SDGs can easily be achieved, right? So that is why quality education is very, very important. Now, this is not to say that every other goals in the SDGs are not important, but SDGs is one of the most important SDGs. Now, like I mentioned earlier, that I'm going to be sharing a personal experience with you all. So personally, SDG is my SDG 4. Quality education is my favorite SDG because of a personal encounter or personal experience that I had in 2019. Yes, if I recall correctly, 2019. So when I was in year 2 in OAU, I'm a graduate of OAU, by the way. So in year 2, we do go for CiAY. So I went for CiAY in Oshobo. And I happened to meet this little girl. She is 12 years old as at then. So I got to have a conversation with her, and she told me that she has never been in school. She shared her experience about always looking out the window when she sees students going to school every morning, and she envies them and wish to be one of them. Out of curiosity, I asked her, why don't you go to school? She told me that her parents do not see the need. I mean, it's not really important to go to school. Now, this might sound unreal, but it's the reality of things. We still have parents in that category. There are still several factors why some children are not in school today. I mean, you will believe that in this generation, everybody is well informed that education is very important, right? For everyone. But it's I won't say funny right now. I would just say it's surprising that we still have parents, we still have children not having access to education due to one reason or the other. And this is why we have SDGs to address these roots problems, right? So I have during my time during the break during the COS period when I was with this little girl, I did my home part, to teach her some basics in math and English. And fortunately enough, it was during this period that I also get to know about SDGs. It was my first time. I saw this program online for youths, just like this program. So the program was focused on youths, and then the main purpose is to create awareness about what SDGs are. And I was fortunate enough to be a participant of that program. So we're taught 17 goals, and then we're asked to pick a favorite and act on it, because that's the most important thing. After you are aware, you need to act. So as I'll be speaking to you today, I want you to have this question at the back of your mind. How do I get involved? Now you are getting to know about SDGs. That's the first step. But now, after getting to know it, do I just want to get to know it as adding it to my knowledge bank? Or do I actually want to do something, want to make the world a better place? Because change starts with me and you. And to achieve this SDG as a country, we need to be involved as an individual, as a family, as a society, as a student. All together, we need to come together to contribute our part, to contribute our quota into achieving all these goals. Now, following up on the story I shared with you all earlier, meeting this girl and also getting to know about SDGs then, and also the charge that we were given to act on our favorite SDG. All this spurred an interest in me that when I was doing my COS and went back to school, I had to reach out to like a couple of my friends that were also my schoolmates then, that I know that they are the kind of people that are interested in volunteering and doing humanitarian projects. So we started an organization called CiAY, that's Changemakers Youth Empowerment Initiative. So the motivation I got, from meeting this girl and her, via that organization, we were able to launch lots of programs. We reached out to primary and secondary schools to teach them, to mentor them. We had virtual career programs for university students, went to charity homes and all. So why am I sharing all these things? Because SDGs is beyond just being aware. It's beyond you just knowing that this thing exists or we need to do this thing. It's more of you acting It's more of you taking part. You know, when I wanted to talk to you about this topic, I said the topic is participating and achieving SDGs as a Nigerian undergraduate. So you as a person, you as a Nigerian, you as a citizen, you as an individual, how are you contributing to the community? How are you giving back to the society? So it's more of acting. The first step is knowing, like I said, and then the next step, which is the most important rather, is to act on these things. Now, SDG goal 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong opportunities for all. And the aim of SDG 4 is to ensure that everyone, women, men, children, adults, have access to quality education. Now, SDG 4 is broken down into 10 targets. We have 7 outcome targets and 3 means of implementation. Now, before I start addressing each of these targets, I'm going to be categorizing them into 3. 1, accessibility. 2, equity. 3, quality. Now, accessibility. We need to ensure access to lifelong learning opportunities right from early childhood to adult education. Now, thinking about the little girl I used in my story, what's the access level of her to quality education? Does she really have access to quality education? Are there some certain factors restricting her from having access to quality education? Now, these factors might not just be parents in this case. It could be infrastructure. It could be establishment of schools, even in our environment. Now, 2, equity. Ensure equity, inclusion, and gender equality. This means we need everyone, irrespective of their gender, irrespective of their age, their race, their ethnicity, their background, including people living with disabilities, need to have access to quality education. Now, the third one, which is quality, which is very, very important because it goes beyond just learning, right? You need to have access to quality learning resources. Make sure that whatever you get to learn, either as a child, primary school, in secondary school, in tertiary institution, adult education, everything you are learning is relevant in terms of vocational, technical, or entrepreneurship skills. Because whatever you get to learn needs to be relevant. Now, most of us that are university, most of us here are undergraduates, right? How relevant is your course of study to the outside world when you are done? Can you apply it? The skills, the knowledge you are acquiring right now, can you apply it to real world challenges, to real life problems? Right? So this is one of the things that SDG 4 need to address. Now, I mentioned earlier that SDG 4 is broken down into 10. We have 7 outcome targets and 3 means of implementation. Now, I'm going to be addressing them one after the other. Target 1, universal primary and secondary education. Now, this target is that by 2030, boys and girls need to have access to free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, which I will also relate with the girl in my story. She is one of those children that needs to have access to free, equitable, and quality education, considering primary and secondary education. So by 2030, we need to make sure that children like her have access to free, equitable, and quality education. So how far have we gone as a nation to provide free primary and secondary education? Now, target 2, early childhood development and universal pre-primary education. Now, by 2030, boys and girls also need to have access to pre-primary education. So they need to have so you can consider this as all this, now in Nigeria as a case study, you can consider this as the KG and nursery phase. So you need to have quality education, the kind of learning that will prepare them ahead of primary education. Target 3, we have equal access to technical, vocational, and higher education. Now, by 2030, we want to ensure that both men and women have access to technical skills that are relevant, vocational skills, or higher education like university. In your case as an undergraduate, do you have access to tertiary education? Now, this includes technical, vocational, and also tertiary education, including university. So by 2030, we want to make sure that everybody, both men and women, regardless of your background, regardless of your financial status, have access to these skills. Now, target 4, relevant skills for decent work. You know, the main importance of learning, either going to school or learning a technical skill or learning a vocational skill, even right from the pre-primary, primary, secondary education, the whole point of all these things is to gain skills that will be relevant either to work in the corporate space after you are done with the whole school cycle, or probably to run entrepreneurship, to establish a business or and all. So the main target for target 4, the main point for target 4 is to make sure that all the skills you're acquiring all through these phases are relevant enough. And this goes beyond just acquiring art skills. We need to consider soft skills that are even necessary for you to survive as an individual, to address challenges. There are soft skills that are necessary for you as an individual, wherever you find yourself, either you're working for someone in a company, either you establish a business you are running for yourself, or you are doing a vocational skill that you are running as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. So we have soft skills like creativity, problem solving, communication skills, emotional intelligence, teamwork, communication, like I mentioned. All these soft skills are necessary for you as an individual, and it is essential that young adults, women, men, boys, and girls are able to get all these skills. So we're ensuring that by 2030, all these relevant skills are acquirable, achievable by everyone, regardless of their status. Now, target 5, gender equality and inclusion. By 2030, we want to ensure boys and girls, men and women have access to pre-primary, primary education, secondary education, vocational, technical, tertiary institution, all relevant skills, have access to it, regardless of where you are from, either children from vulnerable communities, children living with disabilities, regardless of your ethnicity, your language, your ethnicity, your color, your age, your race, regardless of your background, you have access to free, equitable, and quality education. Target 6, universal youth literacy. This is to, by 2030, this is to ensure that a very significant number of youths and a considerable portion of adults have achieved a certain level of literacy and numeracy, which are very basic. They are the basic level of education. Now, target 7, education for sustainable development and global citizenship. This is to ensure that by 2030, everyone have access to the kind of education and learning required to survive as an individual, to address global challenges. Now, moving on from the 7 outcome targets to the 3 means of implementation. We have effective learning environment, we have scholarships, and then we have teachers and educators. Now, effective learning environment is very important because the environment where you have these classes, you are passing the knowledge to the people that will get it is very important. Look at the state of schools in Nigeria today. Are they conducive enough for people living with disabilities? Are they conducive enough for gender sensitive people? Are they conducive enough for people living with disabilities? So regardless of your financial status, regardless of your background, regardless of anything whatsoever, you have access to education. So we have to make sure that some of the schools in Nigeria that needs probably rebuilding or providing necessities, providing tools and equipment. It could be computers that need to aid effective learning for the students, conducive enough to accommodate them and pass the necessary knowledge. And then another means of implementation is scholarships, which I think we have a good number of them right now. We have scholarships from developed countries. I mean, to developing countries like Nigeria that you can leverage to get access to education in the developed countries. And then 3, we have teachers and educators, which is very, very paramount. Teachers are key to achieving all the SDG targets that we talked about earlier, all the 7 outcome targets that we talked about earlier. Why? Because teachers are the drivers. I see teachers as the drivers. They're the one holding the steering, right? While the students are the passengers. If the teacher decides to take the students to Lagos, it's not possible you end up in Abuja or you end up in Oyo State. So which means we need to be able to invest in teacher trainings, right? Teachers need to be motivated enough, provided with the resources that they need to pass the right information to students, because what they are the key to achieving all the SDG targets, and we need to make sure that we have qualified teachers passing this information to students. Now, finally, like I mentioned when I started this session, I said you should have it at the back of your mind that now that you are getting to know about what SDGs are, how do you want to be involved as an undergraduate, as a Nigerian, as an individual? How do you want to get involved in SDGs? Now, there are several ways you can be involved as a Nigerian undergraduate. One, taking part in communities, joining communities. There are several, taking OU as an example now, we have several organizations on campus, like we have ISEC, we have JCI, we have Red Cross, we have TEDx, and so many of them. If we do not have this kind of information, you can easily ask your friends or probably put it on your WhatsApp status, and you'll be surprised that this organization exists in most schools. Actually, this kind of organization exists in most schools, and these organizations are also would I call them living witness to executing the SDG goals. So you've been taking part, joining these organizations will give you the opportunity to actively participate in projects. You know, there is a particular saying in JCI, because I was in JC when I was in school: humanity is the best work of life. And that's the truth. You're taking part in all these kind of projects that are established to train women, to train men, to train boys and girls. You know, there was a time we had a project, this FGM. You'll be surprised that many of our parents in a particular town, if as an example, then that we had the FGM program, do not even know that right now female genital mutilation should not be going on. And that is why we have communities like this, we have organizations like this that can organize this kind of orientations, right? They can organize this kind of orientation, organize programs that will be beneficial for everyone, for every individual. Now, aside joining organizations and communities on campus, you can volunteer to teach and mentor younger students in your environment, probably close to your school, close to where you live. Volunteer to teach them. So you don't have to, you know, when I shared my own aspect of acting on SDGs about establishing an organization that I ran for a couple of years working with my friends, you do not need to go to that extent, trust me, because they mentioned something that little drops of water makes an ocean, right? So you do not have to go all loud. Everyone doesn't have to establish NGO before they take part in SDGs. You trying to help the students around in your community is a way of you participating in SDG. Can volunteer to teach them, to train them, mentor them about where they are right now, how to be prepared for secondary education based on their level, the level of the students you are teaching, or getting prepared for university or life after school. Now, aside from volunteering, you can actively participate in campaigns that promote a better educational policies. We have some of these campaigns run by organizations. You can come across them on IG, you can come across them on Twitter, or be an active participant of campaigns like that. And then you can also donate to charity. You can decide to go solo or just go with, you know, many of us have all this girls group, boys group kind of thing. Just talk to your friends. Gather a little that you can get, or just get some items from your friends that you can easily just get and donate to this charity organization to be very, very useful for them. Now, the final thoughts that I'll be leaving with you is that SDG cannot be achieved by just one person. It needs me, it needs you to be involved. I implore everybody to contribute their quota into achieving all these goals. So pick yourself up now that you know what SDGs are, you know what you need to do now, you know the different ways that you can get involved. Now, I will leave you with one thought. Now that you know what SDGs are, how can you as a person get involved? That is an assignment that I'm giving to you, even though I will not be getting reports directly, but I want to believe that everybody here today that have listened to me have been encouraged to be part of SDG. Another way that you can also be part of SDGs that I forgot to mention is promoting online learning. You can acquire skills outside of your course of study. You are not limited to the course you are studying in school. I studied zoology as an undergraduate. I'm currently working as a product manager. There is no correlation. That is the power of online learning. We have many platforms, like we have Coursera, we have Udemy, and several other learning platforms that get you can get learning resources from. If we have free courses, even YouTube is there. YouTube is there for you. Google is there for you. Coursera, you might feel like, oh, maybe you do not have money to take courses on Coursera. There's financial aid which you can leverage as a student. I think you can even create Coursera account as a student, and you have access to a 1 year free learning resources. So all these kind of online resources, you can have access to it. Establish a skill for yourself. But by the time you are done with your undergraduate studies, you are not just starting to think that, oh, how do I get involved? Oh, no, that I'm done, I need to have a job, I need to do this, I need to do that. How prepared are you during your time in school? Have you taken your time to take an online course? It could be relating to your course of study, and it might not be. Just in my own case, have you been able to be actively involved in organization and communities in campus? Because even you being part of all these communities on campus doesn't just revolve around you probably contributing your quota. You get to learn a lot. You get to work with people. That's teamwork. I mentioned soft skills the other time. That's teamwork. You get to bring out your creativity side, because now you have to establish projects, and you might even get involved in. You might get the chance that they will ask you to manage a particular project. That's leadership. You can acquire most of these soft skills by actively participating in organizations and community. As a student, as an undergraduate, now couple it with you taking an extra step in leveraging online courses, and also preaching the same message, the same gospel to your friends. Spread the message that you do not have, because to me, I there was a time that I thought that everybody knew about online courses, online learning. But then when as I year by year, as I get to meet many people, I'm surprised that many people actually have no knowledge. They don't know anything about the baby Coursera exists, or Udemy courses exist, or the fact that they can actually self-learn something and establish themselves and establish a career for themselves, or work for organizations or communities after learning these skills. So now that you know, please work on it and pass the message to your friends. I believe that you've learned a lot from this session today. Please, if you've jotted some things down, do not leave it inside your jotter. Act on it. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Gloria Oluwafikayomi, and I'll be talking about the SDG 4, which is quality education. But for the purpose of this event, this program, I'll be talking about education without borders, opportunities without limits. That will be our title for today. And this is brought to you by Stride Pathways Youth Foundation. They are currently on a 30-day streak where they will be talking about different SDGs, and then they will be empowering the youth about how they can be better, and providing opportunities for youth. I would encourage you to follow them on all social media platforms so that you'll be the first to know about any opportunities that drop. Thank you so much. So we'll be going into our presentation for today. So like I said, I'll be talking about SDG 4. Education is one of the topics that I really enjoy talking about, because I believe that education is very powerful, and education will take you places. Your education will speak for you. Education is very prestigious. It's very honorable. Education is such a brilliant idea that places you above so many things. It is an opportunity, and everybody should have access to education. All right, moving on. Um, SDGs are the idea of the UN, and the purpose of SDGs is just to transform our world, to make the world better for everybody, to encourage equality, to protect the planet, and all of that. That's why they came up with 17 SDGs, and quality education is part of them. And I feel like I know that it is a very fantastic idea. Moving on. Quality education is one of the 17 SDGs, and it aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So basically, the idea of quality education by UN, not that okay that a particular gender we have this percentage of access or opportunity. They want to ensure inclusivity where everybody, regardless of the age, religion, gender, and all of that, they have access, they have equal access to education to make their lives better and to make them to build their potential, to help them to achieve what they want to achieve and to make them see beyond their physical and their present status. All right. So I'll be talking about why quality education matters. Like I said, I really like to talk about education a lot because education is such an eye opener. Education is very, very, very good. Education is transformative, and there's nobody that education will not benefit. It benefits everybody. Everybody that gets educated gets a lot of rewards from education. But then I'll be mentioning some um, benefits, but not everything, because there are so many benefits of education apart from the ones I'm going to mention. The first one is that education encourages equality. I've already said a bit of that already, but education just, it encourages equality and encourages people to be on the same page. So they are not going to discriminate based on whatever reason. Everybody has the same amount of opportunities, the same access, the same level of access to education as anybody else. Also, it promotes awareness. It makes people to be aware of their rights, of everything that they are supposed to know about themselves, about their society, about their community, and all of that. Education also enhances personal growth. Education wants you to be better. Education encourages, helps you to be better. You will not want to stay where you are because the more you know, the more you actually want to know. So education encourages you to do well for yourself. It encourages personal development. When there's healthy competition between maybe you and your mate now, you also want to be better, to develop yourself so that you can measure up. I'm not saying that you should try to seek validation or anything. I'm encouraging personal development so that you'll be able to, stand before kings and all of that because you are helping yourself to grow. Education also fosters critical thinking and problem solving. All the subjects that we do in school, civic education, social studies, mathematics, they all help us to think. They help us to think and they help us to apply all these things to our everyday lives. Education empowers individuals. They equip us with the necessary skills to be great in life. They give us sorry, it gives us a voice. Education gives us a voice. It makes us to stand out. It empowers us to with so many skills that will better our lives. Education also supports education, economic and financial growth, and it prepares us for sustainable development as well. I'm talking about the targets of SDG 4 now. What education seeks to achieve. So I'm just going to be listing them out. The first one is universal primary and secondary education. So one of the goals of the SDG4 is to ensure that there is universal primary and secondary education. Like university is everywhere. It is not just okay, Nigeria alone. As it is in Nigeria, is in Kenya as well, is in Canada, is everywhere. So it's universal. We want to ensure that there's universal primary and secondary education, and also they want to ensure that there is early childhood development and universal primary education, because it's very easy to train children when they are just developing their toddlers. So what the UN seeks to achieve by SDG4 is early childhood development, where children are properly trained, and they are trained to achieve, to reach their full potential. Then the next one is equal success to, sorry, I meant this place, I meant access to um access to access to technical or vocational and higher education. Please correct that. Then another target is to equip people with relevant skills for decent work, gender equality and inclusion, universal youth literacy, education for sustainable development and global citizenship. Then the UN seeks to implement this through effective learning environments, scholarships, and then good teachers and educators. So you might be wondering that these targets are quite a number. How do they want to achieve all these things that they've listed out? They're going to do this through effective learning environments. You know that sometimes when you are interested in something and the place that you are learning it from is not appealing, and then is not giving you the results that you want, to be discouraged. So what the UN seeks to do to this is to create effective learning environments where you not only learn, you get results of what you learn. So there is results of everything that you are being taught. There is evidence to show for it. They're not just wasting your time. So effective learning environment, they encourage you, effective learning environment encourage people to be more interested in education, because many people think that education is boring, education is, and there's so many opinions. So when the learning environments are very effective, they encourage people to be interested. And that one is scholarships. We all know what scholarships are, so I won't spend much time on that. And then they also provide people with children, schools, people that are learning with good teachers and educators. So people that are really qualified teachers and educators will be the ones to handle the process of teaching and training people about, process of training people in school and all of that. Then we also have challenges to achieving quality education. As much as education is a fantastic idea, there are so many hindrances that can, that can stop quality education from being achieved, that can stop it from being actualized. And I'll be explaining some of the challenges. So the first one and the most common one is limited access to education. This is very sad because, not so many people are privileged to be in school. Too many people are, they don't have the advantage, and it's just it hindrances the the achievement of this SDG. When I went home sometime in, was it March or April, every time that secondary schools and primary schools were in session, and noticed that this boy was always outside hawking, and then when his mates were in classrooms learning, it was always hawking. And every time I saw him, it always broke my heart because imagine his mates were in school, they were learning new things, but he was outside. He did not have access to education, probably because his parents could not afford to pay his school fees and all of that. So limited access to education is such a big problem. It is such a big problem. Another problem is inadequate infrastructure and resources. It's not enough that there are so many schools or there are so many learning environments. If there are no resources or materials, if they are not adequate, if they are not relevant, then the number of schools will not really matter because there's nothing that is being taught. And it's a problem because it's more like people are going there, children and students are going there to sit down and just waste their time. So it's not encouraging, and it will encourage them to be better or to be interested in education. For teacher training and support, there are so many people that are not experts at what they do. They're not experts at what they do. They're just going to take pupils, students to fulfill righteousness to collect their salary, and it's not helping. It's not helping the students at all, and it is a challenge as well. There's also high dropout rates, maybe because of the economy. People cannot really eat, and then they cannot afford to pay school fees and all of that. Is really is sad. And then there are also some other challenges like natural disasters and climate change, language barriers, cultural and social norms, limiting education access, conflict and crisis situation, and inequitable funding. I'm talking about the solutions and the strategies now. Number one, there should be increased investment. Everybody, rich people, government, everybody, individuals should be willing to um invest in quality education to make life easy for everybody. Imagine if everybody was educated, the life would be such a beautiful place. Everybody will be aware of their rights, nobody will be cheated, and even if people will be cheated, it will not be as much as this because do you know all these people that get scammed is as a result of the fact that they are not deceived, they are easily lied to, that they send your call and this right. So many people are being cheated on a daily basis because they don't even know what they're supposed to do in particular situations. So if everybody was educated, if most people were educated, life would be such a good place for everybody. Life will be so much easier for everybody. And then another solution is teacher capacity. Improved teacher capacity. And then another one is inclusive education policies, where the policies are not limited, the policies are not what's the word now, they're not exclusive, they're not okay based on a certain class, certain status, age, religion and all of that. So they are inclusive. Everybody is entitled to whatever type of education, basic education. Everybody has the opportunity to access education at whatever level. And another thing is leveraged technology. We are living in a digital world. Our world is going digital every day. And every day, every second, there's just an improvement, there's a change. Instead of us to be using all these technologies for things that are not really helping us, or things that are not really helping us to be productive, we can leverage on them. We can develop different things that can make life easier for everybody, apps, websites, everything, to make life easier for everybody, to make education more accessible. Then enhanced community engagement, where people in the community society, they are being engaged to know their rights, to know their duties, their obligations, what they're entitled to, and all of that. If everybody was just like this, life would be so good. Life would be bearable a little. Then we also have innovative approaches. So many people come up with different, strategies, and you'll be like, wow. So you're not too small to develop innovative ideas that can encourage quality education. You will not know. I mean, you can never tell if your idea is the next big thing that the UN will adopt. So keep thinking critically, keep looking for ways that you can help them achieve this SDG. And the last one here is robust monitoring and evaluation. Then I'm moving to the conclusion now. Like I said, achieving quality education is really nice, is very good, because it gives you an advantage. It gives you an it places you above so many things. And achieving quality education for all is a transformative force that can break cycles of poverty. Any people that, even though there is not anybody that will use their education to feed, that will use their career path to feed. I know quite a lot of people actually that are where they are today because of their education. I know people that are lawyers, engineers, lecturers, all those people that are where they are today because they were educated. Education helps people to reach their full potentials. It empowers individuals. It encourages them to dream big. Your dreams are valid, and education validates your dreams. Don't let anybody look down. I know that there's so many people that have really brilliant ideas, but then they're not really educated, so they mostly just give up on their ideas, on their dreams, on what they want to achieve. But then education makes you see clearer. Education makes you see more clearly that, okay, this is where I want to be, this is how I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve. Because me, I see myself in the future doing so many wonderful things, and I will be there by God's grace. And one of the reasons why I know that I'll be there is because of my education, because I am getting educated, and I am not just saying, I see a brighter future for me. Sorry, a bright future for myself. I see a bright future for myself, and I know that education is going to help me to even unlock so many doors of opportunities. So now, let us collectively strive to ensure that every individual has access to quality education. So that boy that you're really seeing in your area that doesn't go to school, or that girl that her parents cannot afford their school fees, or this girl or this boy that doesn't just have interest in education, why not just take like one hour out of your time or 2 times a week to teach the person what you are learning in school? Okay, you can say, oh, hi Tony, I learned this and this and this in school today, I would like to share with you. Or even 30 minutes. This way you're also educating the person, and the person is also not completely ignorant. So these little ways can help us to can assist other people to to be better individuals, to be aware of their rights. And this way we're also helping the UN to achieve this goal that they want to achieve by 2030. So don't think that you are too small, you're just in secondary school, you're just in primary school, or you're just don't like, okay, you just finished your secondary school this year, you're just going to university, you don't really have much power to do to change the world. But I'm telling you that you can start from a small place. Great things start from small places. So why not just start from somewhere and try to be the change that you want to be? Try to be the change that you want to see. Seeing people like this is honor that comes with being educated. There was a time I was coming from work, and then I was in the bus, and then this conductor was like, I was just on my own. I didn't even say anything. I was just on my own. I was even tired that day. So this man just looked at me and was like, she lawyer, Nini, are you a lawyer? And I said yes. And then the he told the driver that I should drive small, that a lawyer was in the bus. But there's this honor that education brings to you. There's this honor, there's this respect that you command when you're educated. Do you understand? So now education helps us to be this person that we want to be. Let us collectively strive to bridge the gap and pave the way for a more equitable, prosperous, and sustainable world. Both of us can be the change that we want to see, and we have to start from somewhere. We don't have to wait till we get a big stage and whatnot before we would start to talk. Your neighbor, your classmates, your church member, all those people, start from them. Start by talking to them. Small, maybe 10 minutes today, 15 minutes tomorrow. Before you know it, you're also sowing a seed, and it's going to germinate. It's going to be something beautiful, and they will always remember you for what you are doing for them. So there's a call to action. I'm so sorry. There's a call to action here that says that we should join the movement towards inclusive and quality education for all. We should take action today. Take action today. Talk to that person. Encourage them to go to school. Teach them what you have learned today. Education will take you places. And you know what is better than winning alone? Winning together. Winning together is so much better than winning alone. Seeing your friends, your neighbors in big places, when you know that it's not only you, that when somebody that is enjoying alone, it might not always be fun, but some people like it sure. But then the good thing and the better thing is that you are all winning together, and two heads will always be better than one. So encourage that person today. Talk to them. Teach them what you are learning in school. Teach them whatever you are learning from this program. And I know that their lives will be better because of you. Thank you very much for listening to this lecture. I hope that you're able to pick one or two. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop your questions in the comments box, and would answer you to the best of our knowledge. Again, this presentation, this program, this beautiful event is brought to you by the Stride Pathways Youth Foundation for the annual 30-day Career Boost Initiative for African youth. They are really amazing, and I would encourage you to partner with them and to connect with them. You don't know when doors of opportunities will be open to you, and they're always always on the move to make sure that they make life easier for people. So connect with them today. Thank you very much once again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.